Learn how to combine a default export with named export on a single line. Here's my boilerplate code, and in the script section, I've added a couple of commented out guides that we need to follow in order to be able to look at how we can combine a default export with a name export on a single line, and how to group all name exports into one clean object using the import asterisk as. So let's look at the first instructions that says create parser.js and math.js files and export them. So for this example, we need these two files, parser.js. So I'll go ahead and make it inside my root folder, parser.js. And inside this file, I want to have one primary default export. Add one primary default export. So I can have a named export or a default export and call it like this. Now you can see sometimes you might see code that works like this. Let me give an example. Let's say you have a message, and then you see maybe return something like this, and under it you will see export defaults message. Now this is one way to do export. Another way through which you can export this code is this. You can take that export default statement and put it at the beginning of your code, and then you make your function. So in my case, I want to make a function called pass, and it will take a parameter of text. So I want it to return this text passed plus text. So this is my function. So this is my default export function. Now, inside the same file, let's add other things like an helper named exports. So now we want to add named exports to our default export. Now we have one primary default export, which is this. Now we want to make named export inside it. So let's call the first one maybe something like validate. It will also take an input of text, or call it data or parameter, and inside it I want it to return the length of the text is greater than 0. So I want it to return a random result. And another thing, let me make another one, and let's call this one format. And this also will take data or parameter of text, and this will return text.trim. Now we have these two named exports. So these are like supporting exports to what we currently have as the default, which is one default function. So now that we have this file, let's make another file, call it math.js. I already have the file already, so I'll wipe to what I have inside it before, and inside it I'll just put a simple variable called by equals to 3.14. And now look at this. I'm making this word, I'm making it a named export as well. So I can as well add another function to add x and y, and then I want it to return the value of this. So inside my math.js file, I also have two named exports. One is spy and the other one is the add method. Now let's go back inside index.html file. Now import the file in index.html file. So when you want to import this file, how do you do it? Now, going back inside the parser file, you can see that we have one default function, one default export rather, sorry, called pass, and we have supporting named exports. One is validate and the other is format. So if I want to match this, like if I want to to import them, how do I do it? Well, it's very simple. So you just call it this way, import. Import needs to be at the top of your code, so it should be directly under scripts and not under that comments. I can as well use it where it is. It will still work, but let me use it where I wanted to initially. So the way you call it is that you call pass. Since this one is a default export, it doesn't need curly braces. And now you also want to call other named exports, which are supporting named exports inside the file, which happens to be validate and format. Since these are named exports, you know you need a curly brace. So you put comma after the default export, and then you can go ahead and call the other two supporting named exports. And then from where do you want to call them? From parser.js. So now I have already called my code. I have already called my function as well as my variable. So now that I've done that, I can just go ahead and say I want to see what is inside my past function. So let me just pass this inside console.log. Hello. And after that hello, I also want to use another function called validate. And for this validate as well, I'll pass a simple string hello. I don't need the last one, so I need one bracket to close it. Now let's check inside the console.log. So inside our console, you can see passed, hello, true, and then you can see the other one as well. So what this is basically doing is this is returning a string. If you look at the pass function, you can see passed and then plus the text. And what is the text? The text is coming from this validate hello. And if you check at our validate function that we have inside parser as the support this thing as our supporting named function, you can see the function says return text.length greater than 0. So the value or the length of hello is greater than 0. You can see that it is true. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you count it using JavaScript index, that's for that's 5 character, so which means that it's greater than 0, and that is why you can see hello true here as you are seeing it on the screen. So you can see that now you can import a default true and its helpers on a single clean line. So inside the same file, we imported what we have here. We imported other supporting named functions that we have in our code. So this is how you can import a default export and named exports together in a file. Now, if you want to take it a step forward, we can as well import what we have inside our math. If you see this asterisk, it means that import everything that we have inside that file. And if you look at that file, we have just two functions, pi and then the add function. And so you can return back inside your HTML once you have them imported, and then console.log math.py, the value of math.py, you should see 3.14, and again console.log math.add 2 and 3, you see 5. So this is a way to grab everything from a file. So if you have many tools in a file, you can use the asterisk to grab everything at once, just as we did inside the math.js, and you can see the output right here in our console.